Hello comrades and welcome back to Cascadia Collective. Today we're returning to our series for new and prospective gun owners, with a daunting question for every first-time gun buyer. How do you actually buy one of these? I want to go over what to expect and check in the store, both while browsing and while completing the purchase process. Before I get into the process, I want to bluntly address one of the biggest holdups for many when it comes to buying a firearm. I know the image you have in your head of a gun store. For some, the idea of interacting with the kinds of people who work in and frequent these places may, entirely justifiably, be daunting. For what it's worth, I've never seen gun store staff or patrons of any kind harass anyone, but that may not be worth much, because I'm a gigantic, straight-passing cis white man living in a very blue part of the country. One thing I can promise is that if you belong to any marginalized group, there is a gun store that will serve you without discrimination, probably closer than you think. If you have particular reason to worry about discrimination in your situation, what I can recommend is talking online to armed members of your community and asking where they recommend to shop local to you. Failing this, big box stores like Sportsman's Warehouse, Cabela's, or Scheels will be less of a risk. Now let's get into the process. Firearms in the store will be behind the counter, and you may request to handle them. If you do so, be sure to observe the rules of gun safety, as outlined in our previous video on safe handling of firearms. If you would like to dry fire, be sure to ask the clerk on the store policy for doing so. Some stores will allow it and others won't. Prior to buying, you should handle any firearms you're considering at least once, just to make sure that the grip isn't horribly uncomfortable for you. Some people will tell you that ergonomics in a handgun are incredibly important, and others will tell you it doesn't matter at all and that you should train with the gun you have. The truth is somewhere in the middle. I think you should look for a gun with controls that you can reach without breaking your grip, like the magazine release, slide release, and safety, if applicable. A comfortable grip is nice to have, but it's less important than good control manipulation. The illusion of good grip ergonomics sells a lot of handguns that aren't well suited to their buyers. As a first-time buyer, you likely won't have the experience to have a strong preference between triggers, so I wouldn't worry about dry firing in the store too much. Once you've selected a firearm, and for help doing that, refer to our last video, Gear for Getting Started, it's time to start the buying process. This will require at a minimum a photo ID and filling out the paperwork for a NICS background check. If you're a permanent resident and not a citizen, you'll need to bring your green card in addition to another form of ID. The specifics of the process vary by state, so familiarize yourself with your state's laws on firearms purchases prior to buying. I will cover the process as outlined in Washington State. Here, the process requires a NICS background check through the FBI, a second background check through the Washington State Patrol, and a mandatory 10 business day waiting period from the date of purchase until you can pick up your firearm. It also requires proof of firearms training in the last 6 months in the form of an HB 1143 form or I-1639 form. You'll let the clerk know what you'd like to purchase. They'll have you confirm its serial number, and then you'll present proof of training, as well as your photo ID, and then begin the background check process. Answer truthfully. If your state does not have waiting periods, you may be able to leave after your background check clears with your new firearm in minutes. If it does, the clerk will take your firearm into the back and notify you when your background check and waiting period have both cleared. The process is simple, if tedious and time-consuming, and it's nothing to be afraid of. Another thing to consider is a concealed carry permit. Some states require these in order to legally conceal a weapon in public. Some states have what's called constitutional carry, where no permit of any kind is required. And some states have both for reasons that make little sense. Regulations regarding concealed carry vary so much by state that I'm not going to get into specifics now. But if you intend to carry and your state requires one, I would start looking into that process today. I hope this video helps you to understand what you're in for on your journey to firearms ownership. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.